What's up, Robot Squad? Elijah the Hedgehog, and welcome back to Elijah Reads Creepypastas. Today's episode, we're going to be reading Star Fox Assault, The Call of the Wolfie by Cody the Wolfie Boy, one of my great friends that I chat with most of the time. And it was suggested by him, actually. I went on Discord and he told me that he watched my previous Creepypasta video, so he figured, why don't I do his Creepypasta next? So, I will do exactly that. Yes, I also know a little bit of Star Fox, but I'm mostly a Sonic fan, no offense. It's something. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and read this story. I still remember 2018 like it was just yesterday. Everything was normal. You know, the kind of soft, forgettable kind of normal that makes the years blur together. Except that one never quite let me. I was just 8 then. I wasn't like the other kids when it came to video games. Sure, everyone talks about Super Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog. Heck, even Crash Bandicoot had his big comeback. And I would remember my classmates constantly argue who was faster, cooler, and more iconic. And I just shrugged and said quietly, I like Star Fox. They'd blink at me. Star what? Yeah, not many of them have heard of it. But to me, it wasn't weird at all. It was everything. From the classic Super Nintendo Entertainment System Star Fox, which game was called Starwing in Europe, to the flashy and modern polish of Starlink, Battle of Atlas. I treasured every frame, every ship, and every time the Conorian theme kicked in. But there was one game that stood tall even among all the rest, glowing gold in my memory. Star Fox Assault. And it's not because of the story, though that was amazing too, but it's actually because of the multiplayer mode. That was our thing, yes. I mean, the 4 of us. Jordan, Laney, Derek, and me. Jordan was the one who actually owned the game. His parents gave him a sleek purple GameCube, still shiny years later. I can still remember hearing the sounds of the disc spinning when we booted up, followed by the rhythmic tune of the game's opening sequence. His basement became our starship. The cushions were everywhere, soda cans were clinking, and all 4 of our controllers were tangled in a knot. We pretended it wasn't slowly fusing into one entity. Okay, dibs on Fox! Jordan would always shout first, barely giving anyone else a chance. Lightning would cross her arms and roll her eyes dramatically. Fine then. I'll be Crystal again. She's faster than stupid Fox anyway. Derek would smirk. No, he always smirked. Guess that makes me Falco. Try not to fly into the walls this time, Jordan. And then there was me, always last, and always deliberate. Wolf! I'm going with Wolf O'Donnell. My friends would all, groan in unison. Lanny even once tossed a pillow at me. Marissa, of course you'd pick the bad guy. But I'd grin, feeling proud of it. He's not bad. He's just confident. The truth was, Wolf fascinated me. He had this cool edge, this strange mystery. Even when all the others sneered at him, I saw something else. Something like loneliness, maybe? Or maybe I was just projecting, much as like a kid does. We'd play for hours, dodging lasers, flying through maps, shouting over who stole whose kill. Those were the moments that felt like they'd last forever. The laughter, the friendly chaos, and the warm glow of the TV painting our faces in blue and gold. And then there was that one night at home. I remember sitting cross-legged at the dining table while Mom was flipping through bills, and Dad was trying to fix a wobbly chair leg. I must have asked them dozens of times by then, but that night I asked again anyway. Can I please get Star Fox Assault? Please? I'll do extra chores, I promise. Mom sighed the way moms do when they wish they could say yes. Sweetheart, it's not happening right now. Dad added in his quiet, almost guilty tone. Maybe another time, okay? I pouted, drawing tiny R-rings on a napkin with my crayon. But Jordan has it, and it's the best game ever. I want to play it at home too. They exchanged a look. You know, that kind of silent parent look that makes you feel like you just missed a secret message meant only for grown-ups. Then Mom smiled, too quickly, and winked. Don't worry too much of that, honey. You'll see soon. I remember frowning, confused. See what? No answer. Just another knowing look between them. Then a quiet laugh from Dad. I didn't know it then, but that was the start of everything. Something was coming, and it started. Not with a crash, not with a scream, but with that wink. That day still feels like a constellation burned into my memory, bright, unmoving, and impossible to forget. My ninth birthday. And it started the way every kid's birthday should. Cereal with extra marshmallows, balloons bobbling in the kitchen, and my dad pretending not to burn pancakes. He did, slightly as always. Mama decorated her dining room with ribbons in every shade of blue and silver, and a giant nine balloon hovered in the corner like a proud satellite. Everything felt warm, light, and normal until the mail arrived. Dad came back in from the front porch holding a crisp, star-speckled envelope. It shimmered faintly into the sunlight. The paper indeed navy with tiny white dots that looked suspiciously like a hand-drawn galaxy. You got something special there, baby girl. A birthday girl, excuse me, Mom said, handing it to me. I turned it over. No return address. Just my name written in shiny gold ink. To Marissa. The card was thick, fancier than the usual birthday ones from relatives who forgot how old I was. Opening it, I found a burst of color and glitter shaped like tiny R-rings. Inside, in jagged but enthusiastic handwriting, was the message. We got a surprise for you, Commander. Report to base, aka the school, at 1 p.m. Bring your enthusiasm, pilot, from your squad mates, Jordan, Lanny, and Derek. He even had a little doodle of Wolf O'Donnell in the corner, tiny fangs and all. I gasped. It's from my friends! They planned something at school! Mom and Dad exchanged one of those almost too calm looks again. That same quiet knowing from last year's Wink incident. Sounds like an important mission, Dad said with a grin. Better not keep your crew waiting. Mom added, We'll take you there. You're the guest of honor after all. When we arrived, the school parking lot looked as boring as ever. No starships in sight, no confetti barrages, just brick walls and faint chalk drawings on the pavement. But then I stepped inside my classroom and my jaw dropped. Every inch of the room was drenched in Star Fox, posters of Fox, Falco, Crystal, and even my favorite Wolf line on walls. Blue and silver streamers hung like vapor trails from the ceiling. The desks had been rearranged into a shape of an orange wingspan, and someone had drawn the Star Fox logo on the whiteboard in perfect detail. Even the paper plates were shaped like little planets. Happy birthday, Star Commander Marissa! Everyone shouted at once. I nearly fell back from surprise, laughing as I covered my face. You guys, you did all this for me? Jordan grinned, his fox ears crooked in the handbag he wore. We couldn't just let you have a boring Earth party. Lanny twirled, her paper crystal tail brushing the floor. It took us forever to cut out all these planets. Derek adjusted his cardboard Falco beak and added, Whatever though, you should have seen Jordan try to use the stapler. Says the guy who glued feathers in his hands, Jordan shouted back. It didn't feel like school anymore. It felt like I was inside the Lilat system itself, ready to blast off. For a second, I think I'd actually believed the ceiling might open and reveal the stars. Then came the presents, a mountain of them. There was a stuffed Irene plush, a Kiriro frog that Lenny insisted looked like Slippy, and Starlink poster, homemade cookies shaped like Fox's face, and even a shiny silver notebook with mission logs written across the top of bold marker. Each one made me smile wider than the last. But then Jordan carried one last box forward. A small rectangular one wrapped in silver foil, topped with a single gold ribbon. We saved the best for last, he said. I tore it open. The box inside gleamed with fresh plastic, not a single scratch or dent. And there, printed in bold letters, I saw it. Star Fox Assault. An original GameCube copy. Not used, not borrowed. Brand new. For a moment, I couldn't even speak. My throat just closed up. You guys, how did you? Lanny beamed. You said it was your favorite, dummy. Of course we had to get it. Derek added. And Jordan's dad knows a guy who collects old games. We just pulled our allowance. Jordan shrugged, pretending to act casual, but I could tell he was proud too. I laughed, half disbelief, half pure joy, and I hugged all three of them at once. This is the best birthday ever! Mom and Dad were watching from the doorway, smiling through a mix of amusement and that weird, quiet pride again. The kind that said, you deserve this, kid. The years flew from there. By 2021, I had played Star Fox Assault more times than I could count. I'd unlocked every map, beaten every mission, even unlocking Wolf O'Donnell. I knew every equip hat and taunt by heart. But when I finally reached 100 completion, after months of replaying missions and perfecting my aim, I decided to revisit something I'd never really looked through before. The instruction manual. You know, the thick kind with actual pages instead of online guides. I turned the matte black cover carefully. Everything was the same as I remembered until the last few pages. There, tucked behind, was something strange. A code. A sequence, I swear, I hadn't seen before. It was written in smaller text, right under an unmarked section labeled Special Data. It read, Upon full completion, 100%, hold L plus R, then input YAYABBXXZ to awaken the call. I frowned. This wasn't in any guide online. I would have known. When I tried it, sleek golden text flashed on the bottom right of the screen. The call is now unlocked. Someone awaits you. The screenshot. This is a screenshot right here. Its text shimmered. It pulsated faintly like a heartbeat. Curious, I pressed start and entered the newly unlocked mode. It opened to the familiar multiplayer character select screen. Fox, Falco, Crystal, Peppy, Slippy, and of course, Wolf. Everything was normal, perfectly normal, but something about him, made me hesitate. Wolf's portrait lingered at the edge of the screen, lit differently somehow, like the shadows were bending more around his smirk. My thumb hovered over the A button, but then I laughed nervously to myself and backed out. Another time, I muttered, "Yeah, maybe tomorrow." The screen faded back to black as the main menu came and its music echoed once again. It's strange how something can linger in your life. Quiet, patient, waiting. For me, that something was a single glowing menu option that had haunted my GameCube's title screen since the day I discovered it 3 years earlier. The call. I was 14. I hesitated for years to open that mode again, not because I was scared, exactly, just aware. There was something abnormal about it, something that made me feel like a part of the game was waiting for me, not the other way around. But tonight, curiosity finally outweighed hesitation. I dusted off the old GameCube, slid the Star Fox Assault disc from its case, and pressed the lid down until it clicked. The system purred awake, the low hum rising like an old engine stretching after years of sleep. The screen flickered, the Namco logo flashed, and the familiar music began to play. And just as I remembered, the option was still there, gleaming softly beneath the usual story mode and versus mode. The call. I took a deep breath in, put my fingers over the controller, and selected it. The character select screen loaded up next, silky smooth, exactly as I remembered it. Everything looked normal, no strange flickers, no glitches, no unsettling distortions. I exhaled, half laughing at my own nerves. Okay, let's see what you got, Mystery Mode. My cursor hovered over Wolf O'Donnell. When I selected him, his classic voice line played, crisp and confident. I'll get it done. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just some hidden mode. This was something made to feel official. The screen faded to black and the cutscene began. Two characters appeared, neither I'd ever seen before. The first was a lean, sharp-eyed wolf girl with violet highlights and circular glasses. Wolf Girl. She stood before a glowing holomap shaped like the Lilac system. Beside her towered a powerful built wolf with glowing eyes and dark, unarmored fur. Wolf Boy the Wolfie Warrior. He carried himself like a hero from another story entirely. The day's here, Wolf Boy! He's returned! Wolf Boy, crossing his arms. I've been waiting. I trained for this. I won't lose this time. Wolf Girl. Even against Wolf Daniel? Wolf Boy. Especially against him. My apologies, Cody, if I did the Wolf Boy voice incorrectly. Anyway, the music built to a low, pulsing theme, and the screen panned to reveal a new galaxy, fresh planets spinning into view. The words appeared. Mission start. Planet Aurelis. Planet Aurelis. A glowing world bathed in shimmering aura lights. You flew around waterfalls, suspended midair, weaving through crystal tunnels reflecting beams of laser fire. The unique feature here was sound navigation. You had to follow rhythm patterns rather than radar pings to locate enemies. Platinum Verdum 4. A lush jungle moon, part vine maze, part ancient ruin. You piloted through landmaster through narrow pathways. Cannons hidden behind mossy statues firing plasma bursts. The unique feature was terrain morphing, in which the map slowly rearranges as vines grew mid-mission, forcing you to adapt. Planet Cryostar. A frozen expanse with blizzards so thick they blurred visions. Dogfights happened inside icy caves, where missiles ricocheted off walls. I can't pronounce that. The unique feature in this level were heat sensors only, where you had to rely on thermal targeting instead of visuals. Planet Solis Prime, a burning desert world lit by two suns. Sandstorms mess with radar, and you could switch between flight or ground combat. Unique feature: energy overheating. Firing too much caused your air wing to stall temporarily, making strategy in a sentinel. Planet Nimbus. The floating sky island suspended by gravitational anomalies, following meant restarting the section entirely. Unique feature: reverse gravity nods that let you fly upside down for shortcuts. Planet Marigan, a stormy ocean planet with battle platforms, rising and sinking in massive waves. The mode shifted constantly between aerial fights and water surface duels. Unique feature: dynamic tide system. Each wave reshaped in the entire battlefield. And finally, after clearing those six, the last destination lit up the corner of the galaxy map. The Wolfieverse. It wasn't like any Star Fox world I'd seen. The entire map gleamed in violet and gold, glowing purple fields and metallic skyscrapers glowing in a deep amber beneath an enormous yellow sky. The background music was subtle, echoing, almost eerie, like a heroic theme played backward. The unique feature here was cross dimensions shifting. You could phase between two color-coded dimensionators of the same world to dodge attacks or access hidden switches. After defeating wave after wave of shadowy wolfen ships, the area went eerily silent. Then the cutscene began. Wolf O'Donnell landed his wolfen in the city center of the Wolfieverse. The scene zoomed out to show Wolf Boy emerging from the glowing mist, stepping forward with fire in his eyes. For a split second, I noticed his model looked exactly like Wolf O'Donnell's from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, only slightly refined. Except Wolf Boy had broad glasses and no armor, his fur untamed. You finally showed your face, O'Donnell! You again? I thought you war ended years ago. You ended it by betraying me. You had me to fade while you became legend. You're mistaken. I never had a partner. Then maybe I'll remind you who made you strong in the first place. The screen flashed red. The boss battle began. It wasn't like any normal Star Fox boss fight. There were R-Rains, Grandmasters, Wolfens, all active at once. It felt exactly like the game's multiplayer mode, except there was no other players, just me and him. For a moment, I thought my controller had desynted, because Wolf Boy seemed to anticipate my moves. His strategy shifted mid-match. He'd retreat when I got close. A flank when I flew high. He even used weapons I didn't recognize. First to three KOs, and that's how the match worked. He destroyed me twice. The first time, I blamed myself. The second, I swore he laughed. I gritted my teeth, grabbed the wolfen, and charged straight through his barrage on the third round. My laser connected. First one, then two, then finally the last desperate shot. The big red text filled the screen. You win! Wolf Boy stumbled, his breathing ragged, and muttered one last line, his voice soft, disappointed. No, still not enough. Darkness again. One final cutscene played. Wolf stood before his wolfen, looking down at the fallen Wolf Boy. Wolf O'Donnell. No matter how many times you fight, the result doesn't change. Fate flies in circles, not lines. Wolf Boy. Then maybe next time I'll break it. Wolf entered his wolfen, the engines roaring to life. As he flew away, the screen faded into the swirling colors of the Wolfieverse. After that, the credits rolled. Everything about it was normal. Developers, voice actors, copyright text, but nothing about Wolf Boy or the call when it was brought back to the main menu. I expect the mode to be gone. But it wasn't. Instead, a soft chime played, and silver letters appeared on screen. New character unlocked, Wolf Boy the Wolfie Warrior. A brief description followed. Once rival, now reckoned equal. Wolf Boy the Wolfie Warrior joins the fray. Strength, balance, skill, adaptive combat on both ground and air. Even the characters show Hoy pulse with a radiant violet aura before the fading into the character select screen. I couldn't wait to tell my friends. While Jordan, Lenny, and Derek arrived later that week, we went straight to multiplayer. Alright, Fox time! And I'll give Peppy a try this time, Lenny added. Can I be Wolf? Derek asked, glancing at me. Of course, I said, smiling. Then I moved the cursor down, and there he was. Wolf Boy. The others gasped. Wait, who's that? Jordan asked. He wasn't there before, Lenny added. Secret characters, I guess. I shrugged, hard thudding. Let's see what he can do. Those matches, they were incredible. Wolf Boy wasn't overpowered, but he was fluid, smooth in both air and ground combat. It felt like playing a perfected hybrid of both Wolf and Fox. For hours we laughed, teased, and flew across the maps, declaring multiplayer the best part of the game. But then, in 2025, we tried again. Same GameCube, same disc, same friends. Except when we reached the character select screen, Wolf Boy was gone. Vanished. Like he had never existed at all. We scrolled back and forth, just opposite, even without the game. Nothing. Maybe your save got corrupted? Derek guessed. No, I said quietly. All the scores are not. All the scores are still there. Everyone else is still there too. Lenny frowned. Weird. It's like he just unlocked itself. Then came a knock. 3 sharp, heavy thuds against the front door. It was late. My parents weren't due home for hours. We looked at one another, uneasy. Something inside me whispered not to go. But curiosity, familiar, burning, foolish, tugged me forward. I walked downstairs, each step creaking slightly under my weight. The knocking came again, more impatient this time. All right, I'm coming, I muttered, annoyed. I turned the handle, swung open the door, and froze. Standing tall in the doorway, framed by the dim low porch light, was a figure from my television screen. Violet fur, piercing gold eyes, heavy breathing flogging in the cold air. Wolf Boy, the Wolfie warrior. My scream tore through the house. No one have ever figured out what the call was, really. If anyone else could even unlock it, my GameCube still works. Still runs Star Fox Assault perfectly. But that mode? Gone. Just like Wolf Boy. Or maybe he's still waiting. Somewhere between the stars and the static. Wow. That was some creepypasta. Man, that was a very long one if I say so myself, but it was amazing. Cody, thank you so much for letting me read this creepypasta for you. I appreciate it a lot, and thank you for the suggestion. Alright, bye-bye squad. If you want me to do another creepypasta next, then please let me know down in the comments below. Anyways, please give this video a like, comment down what your favorite part was, consider subscribing to the channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss a video from me. Until then, see you later, bye-bye squad. Thanks for watching.